story that happened to me about Robert Hooke. The BBC contacted me and asked me would I take part in a series of programs on major moments, okay, and I thought, yes, I will. Moments of genius, okay. Now I wasn't quite sure when I agreed, but I thought, well, the great moment of genius for me, or certainly one of them, was the moment when the first equation of physics was actually written down, okay. Now I don't mean an equation, because the Greeks had equations, and Al-Khwarizmi formalized algebra, but didn't write any equations. But there were equations, such as Diophant's equation. But I meant an equation of physics where the parameters related to observations. And I thought, well, let's try Robert Hooke. I wasn't quite sure. I had 3/4 of an hour on the telephone, and that was going to be whittled down to 3 minutes. And I thought, well, I'm not sure who it is, but let's just pick Robert Hooke as an example. And it seemed to me that everybody knows Hooke's law. I was familiar with the aspects of it, of the pan balance, okay? And I sort of suggested that that was the case. It's the spring. And we're all familiar that if you put something on the spring, it goes down, say, 1 centimetre, you have 1 pound. If it goes down 2 centimetres, you have 2 pounds, and 3, so on, so on. So it was on there. And behold, here was the first message, posted by Dermot. I've just been listening to Moments of Genius on the BBC, and lo and behold, the first moment belongs to Robert Hooke, 18th of July 1635 to 1703, who in 1660 first related a physical observation to a mathematical formula, the law of elasticity, that relates the extension of a spring to the force applied to it. Now, Hooke was a clever chap, and deservedly famous, but by what feat of ignorance did the BBC and their men of little knowledge, that's me, manage to this howler? A few second thought would reveal that to the averagely educated that Johannes Kepler worked it out in 1602, that the orbit of Mars was not a circle but was an ellipse, and nor was the orbit of any planet, but all were ellipses. Not only did he work this out, but he showed how to relate the different orbits of the planets. The thing about Kepler was, of course, that he was a foreigner and he was not a member of the Royal Society. These are, of course, vital matters when you have neither knowledge nor curiosity about a given matter. Well, he's certainly right that it wasn't Robert Hooke. But he's also wrong that it was Kepler, because there are no equations of physics in Kepler's work. He was a foreigner. That's true, and he was not a member of the Royal Society because the Royal Society didn't exist. He died 30 years before it was formed, and in fact in those days there seemed to be more foreigners who were members of the Royal Society than there are today. So that's the real part of that. However, there is a real question, and I haven't yet found the answer. I do not know who was the first person to write an equation of physics. And I think that's a very important issue, because from that moment the language of physics, the language of the universe, was suddenly revealed as the language in which we need to understand the universe. Stop.